The world's been hard.
It has been.
It's been rough. It's been a rough couple years.
Yeah, it has.
Let's take it out on each other.
Welcome back to the JoyCircuit podcast. I am your faithful host, and I'll be controlling this episode. My name is Jeremy Hoagland. Today I'm joined by a man with a control deck, Alex Tanner. We have a man who's in control all the time, Joseph DeCoste. So today, what we're talking about is video game controllers. And more specifically, we're going to be ranking our top 10 video game controllers of all time. We've done a few ranking episodes in the past, but today is going to be a little bit different. I've kind of come up with a little bit of a game here for us to play, kind of switch things up. Okay, so the way it works is like this. We will separate our top 5 picks and our bottom 5 picks into 2 separate groups. Okay? So if a controller is represented in both groups, then it'll be placed into the group where it has more votes. If a controller has equal votes in both groups, then it will be placed in a mysterious third group, which we have yet to figure out. In round 1, we will debate the ranking of 6th to 10th place controllers, while in round 2, we will debate the ranking of 1st to 5th place controllers. Now, the kicker is this. We have skills. We have skills.
We do have
I'm
skills.
not just referring to our life skills, of which we have many. I'm referring to the skills with which are present in this game.
Okay.
Okay? So each player starts the game with 3 ability points. Okay, you following me? Mm-hmm. We've all played RPGs. You understand people, ability points.
Yeah.
We got 3 of them. Now we have 3 different skills that we can use with these ability points. So the first one is called Boost. 2 ability points. Raise any controller plus 2 positions once. So, Alex, you got your N64 controller in there. If you want to raise it up too, you can do it for 2 ability points.
Okay.
Now your second ability is called Strike. Now this only costs you 1 ability point. And it is lower any controller minus 1 position once. So same thing, except you can just lower it one place.
Yep.
Right.
Once we've debated our bottom 5 and our top 5, we'll go to the final round. We can switch 6th place with 5th place. Yeah, then we'll pretty much have our list, I think.
Okay.
Any questions before we get started here?
No. This is the most scientific controller ranking ever. Got a mixture of politics,
And
RPGs, science.
I don't know where the science comes in, but there's something.
It's scientific.
There's something there.
It feels scientific. Feels like a science experiment.
Alex, what are you thinking?
What do you mean as the resident Bachelor of Science?
Is that what you have?
Hey, I've got a Master of Science.
Do you?
I do.
You're it's not a business.
It's not a business. It's
Oh,
a
you're a Master of Science. Well, there you go.
Told you it's scientific.
No, I have nothing else to add. There's no... there are specific, very specific questions I could ask that are theoretical, but until we get into it and see what turns up, there's no point asking.
We take our
Let's
controller
get it.
ranking very seriously.
Yeah. Well, really, what I wanted to do is hopefully inject some spitefulness into this debate. Fun, not like not like mean, nothing mean, but some joyful spite. You down with that?
But the most joyful spite is mean spite.
Well, hey.
I've become a salty, spiteful man in my old age, so I'm always down for a little spite.
Okay, sweet. So I'm gonna get into this. I'm gonna reveal my top 10,
Yep.
and then Alex, and then Joe. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start from the bottom.
We don't know
group.
yet.
Well, yeah. For me, this will be 1 point
Yeah.
in the bottom group. Number 10 for me is the Wiimote,
Okay.
Nintendo Wii.
Okay.
Number 9. Now this is a pick from the heart. Rock Band 2, Fender Stratocaster guitar controller. That's in my number 9.
The inferior.
I feel
game
like I know
guitar.
Joe's gonna have at least one of these. The NES Zapper at number 8 for me. Duck Hunt, satisfying click and shooting at the screen. One of the earliest controllers I ever held, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another early controller tied to that, the NES controller. Little blocky guy over there. Love him. First controller I ever held in my life. Number 6, so this will be rounding out the bottom group for me, is another Nintendo controller, the Joy-Con.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so let's go. Let's get your bottom 5.
Mine.
Yeah.
Your bottom 5 shocked me.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, you
Yeah.
You think they should be in the top, or you think they wouldn't be in my list at all?
At all.
Okay.
Okay.
My number 10, sadly, and Jeremy's probably going to be shocked by this, is the N64 controller.
Okay.
I love it.
Wow.
But it's, honestly,
I'm surprised that made top 10, to be honest.
The sticks got me recently. I love the N64 controller, but how janky the sticks are in this day and age and how easily they broke, it just...
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Next up, number 9 is I think it's DualShock 2. PS2?
Yep.
Yeah. They're just...
Really? Number 9?
Number 9. Number 9 for me.
Wow.
DualShock 2. Okay, nice.
Number 8, DualShock 3.
Okay.
Number 7. Is it 7? 10, 9, 8. Yeah. The Wii Classic Pro.
Oh, okay. Weird. This is cool. We got totally different bottom fives. That's awesome.
And number 6 is the Wii U Pro.
So Wii Classic Pro.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming the Switch Pro is in there above that.
It's above it.
Wii U.
Yeah, I guess it should go without saying that like we haven't necessarily played every controller. So there's gonna be controllers that just don't make it on the list because none of us have played them that are probably amazing controllers.
I don't know. I feel like probably barring like
Xbox,
some
like
Sega
Elite.
love. I
Yeah.
feel like
I think if compared to like a traditional list of like Xbox Elite is highly regarded, but I don't think any of us have ever used it.
well, most of us also don't have magical abilities that you can use at any time.
That's true, too.
Point taken, though, Joe. Okay, Joe, what's your bottom 5?
Okay, number 10 for me, shitty old PS4 controller.
Wow.
Shitty old PS4. I don't
Yeah.
even. So
Number
DualShock
10.
4.
Yeah, number
That's
10.
insane. So far we have 11 different controllers in the bottom 5. This is amazing.
Okay, then number 9, the Wiimote.
Okay, first double.
Yeah.
First one with 2 votes.
Gonna give you another double.
Okay,
The gun from Duck Hunt, number 8.
Oh, my God.
Zapper. Okay, boom. I love
Which
it.
like that's a good 8. Like that's a positive 8. Like the PS4 is a negative 10.
My Zapper was
God,
also
that's a positive 8.
My Zapper was also 8.
Number 7, Guitar Hero guitar.
So is Guitar Hero 3?
Yeah.
Let's be specific.
Yeah. Guitar Hero 3 guitar.
Okay.
And then number 6, so rounding out the bottom half for me, Super Nintendo. Oh my god. Super Nintendo.
6.
Wow. Okay. So I'm just gonna do one little thing
Joe,
here.
you're on the wrong side of history here, buddy.
Alex, your bottom 5 is literally shocking to me. It's ridiculous.
So we got 2. Okay, we actually.
I see the way this is going to go is I'm going to get outvoted on all the Nintendo. It's going to be stacked with Nintendo in the top.
No, but even our PlayStations we don't agree on. And we've played them all. We both played them all.
Well, I think I'm clearly going to be right in my picks.
So we got
I'm
2.
going to be wrong.
We got 2 votes for Zapper, and we got 2 votes for Wiimote. I guess that probably factors in somewhere. And then we got
I can't believe the Wiimote was even on your guys'
SNES.
list.
Really?
Yeah, like the Wii Remote is a groundbreaking controller. It did a lot for the industry in motion control gaming, but it's not a good controller. It's so frustrating. And it was a predecessor to the Joy-Con, which I agree. Like for Jamie, I could see that as like a 10. But
Okay, but so if you want to talk, so obviously like pure like controller, like some objective sense of what a good controller is isn't necessarily going to be what makes up this list. Otherwise, this piece of shit wouldn't be on there.
Yeah, nostalgia and
it's
also
gonna play a
and
role.
also
And
what it did for
Exactly.
technology at the time definitely factors into my thinking. So it's not
Exactly.
necessarily one of
But
the.
for me, it's more so enjoyment of using that control
Yeah.
at the time. Even then, like that for playing Mario was perfect. Playing
But-
the Wii remote on
worry,
with
Alex. We
anything,
can get into it.
not perfect. Even bowling was a struggle at
But
times.
how many people would never play a bowling game until you give them the Wiimote, and then all of a sudden, old granny
Well, boys,
is playing
100%.
bowling?
You're
It had an
forgetting
impact.
things could get weird here because if these
True.
bottom 5s are in the top 5, they might not necessarily stay in the bottom.
So, do we want to get into top 5? now?
We're gonna get into it, so we'll go
man.
through again. I guess I'll start off here. Okay, so 5th place for me. Now this might be a surprise to you guys. Xbox One controller.
Huh.
This guy right.
Solid.
This guy right here. It's a great controller. I bought it for my PC. Never used it on Xbox, but I love it for what it does. It's a great controller.
Cool.
Number 4, DualShock 4. Not a number 10 for me, but definitely
Okay.
in the top 10. DualShock 4, great controller. Number 3 for me, DualShock, the original DualShock. Revolutionized fucking analog sticks.
That's
number 2, Alex, I think you'll like this one. GameCube, number 2 for me.
good job, Jeremy.
Yeah, had to. And then number 1, had to. It's the best. DualSense. The newest, they perfected it, in my opinion.
PlayStation 5. Yeah.
Okay, I can comment on that.
Okay, Alex. Yeah.
So
Okay,
this-
so hold on. Let's just look at this now. Let's just. So we got the DualShock 4 is currently 1 vote in both. So we'll see. We'll see how that pans out. Okay, Alex.
I just want to say, I have never owned an Xbox and I don't have a PS5 yet. So honestly, like this is biased completely. I've heard the great things about Xbox controllers. You guys would both know more than I don't. I couldn't add them because I don't have enough experience with them, and that's kind of sad. But
No, it's okay.
just the reality
This is
of it.
going to be not an objective list by any means.
no. Okay, so my number 5 is a DualShock 4.
Okay, so that means that DualShock 4 is officially in the top group because it has 2 votes versus Joe's 1.
Number 4 is mouse and keyboard.
Love it. Love it. What a cool pick.
I'm actually going to switch this on my list here. Number 3 is the Switch Pro controller.
Switch Pro.
Number 2 is the SNES controller.
Nice.
And number 1 is the GameCube controller. Joe's shaking his head over there.
So I will say our actual rankings don't matter that much once they're in the group. That all goes out the window. The only thing that carries over is if something got more votes in one category.
All right.
So we'll be able to debate all of that. I don't know how the fuck that's going to work out.
All right, here's my list, the definitive list of the top 5. Number 5, original Xbox controller. Not the Duke, but the one they came out with to fix the fuck up that was the Duke.
The controller S. Xbox
Yeah.
controller S, I believe.
Indeed. Number 4 is the PS1 controller. The that's the
dual-
original DualShock.
The
right?
DualShock. So they had the original one without the analog sticks.
Yeah,
but
the
you're
analog
talking about the
DualShock.
DualShock. So I also had DualShock, so that means DualShock gets 2.
All right, number 3, Xbox 360 controller.
Nice.
Number 2 is the DualSense,
Okay.
which makes number 1 for me the DualShock 2.
Okay.
And that is the correct ranking of controllers.
DualShock 2, best
DualShock 2
controller.
at best.
Oh man, Joe.
So essentially, DualSense, GameCube, DualShock, and DualShock 4 all have 2 votes in the top 5. So essentially, those 4 to me should be essentially are in.
Which one, sorry?
So votes basically trump ranking. So there's 2. They all got 2. So that means 2 of us think that they should be in the top 5. So that means those 4 are locked in.
But which ones are they?
DualSense, GameCube, DualShock, DualShock 4.
DualShock 4 is so trash. It's such a trash controller.
Well, Joe.
The only shittier controller is the PS3 controller.
I don't know why you think it's so shitty.
That stupid fucking touchpad that's garbage.
I don't
And the
even use
stupid buttons
touchpad.
that they changed.
Don't they have a touchpad on PS on the DualSense?
Yeah, but I got used to it by then. It's just shit on the PS4.
So that's the most straightforwardly subjective opinion I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, but I got used to it by then.
Yeah.
Like it's not even objective. It's like
Any controller that just trashes, although it's going to be a completely double standard here because I'm not going to penalize Xbox for it, but any controller that trashes the fucking start button and select.
What about DualSense, though?
Well, it wasn't the one that did it. It was already killed by the PS4 controller, right? So
Let's just save this for the... the controller of the podcast needs to figure this shit out.
this is your number 1.
my number 1.
feel like you need like a mechanic to come grease these fucking horrible travel on these buttons, Alex.
Horrible travel.
Horrible
what
travel.
What do you mean?
Like, where the fuck does it even engage? I don't even know. It just feels
What?
like
That's what I mean. Like when you're playing
Smashing
Smash
plastic.
and you're holding your shield, you're lightly holding the shield. If you hold it harder, it actually
they're
increases
pressure
with the amount.
sensitive, but they don't feel pressure sensitive.
They are. They
feel
100% are.
So that's like driving a car with something that gives no feedback. Like imagine if your gas pedal gave you no feedback whether you were accelerating or not.
I mean, but yeah, this is a 20-year-old controller. You got to think they're still printing that today. This controller Jeremy bought is just from a couple years ago. How many
These make no
20-year-old
sense.
controllers? What do you mean?
3 in a row and 1 up top. No sense.
Joe, this is the thing. It's designed for Nintendo games and for Smash in particular. This is
What the fuck's this button for?
premium.
It makes no
That's the
sense.
grab button, Joe. And in Mario Kart, that's the item button. Why else? Drift, item. It's perfect.
Alex, playing video games with this is like trying to read in Chinese to me. It makes no sense. Like, it's just different
Joe,
language.
but if you're Chinese, it makes perfect
That's
sense.
great, yeah. Chinese.
Well, then in this case, I guess I'm Chinese
Chinese.
because it's perfect. It makes perfect sense.
Okay. Not convinced.
And Chinese, well, I'm sure one of their dialects, isn't that like one of the most like popular languages in the world? So a lot of people feel this way. That's true for GameCube as well.
How you not gonna have 4 shoulder buttons? I got an extra finger that's useless.
Joe,
Like, what do you do with this finger?
Joe, what do you mean?
I might as well chop it off. It has nothing to
Joe,
fucking do.
this came out in like 2000. Joe, I'm not even. Where is the DualShock 2? Do you have one?
Oh, that's the 3.
No,
Fuck.
I don't.
I was gonna say, bring that little bitch out here.
It is beautiful. Okay. After much struggle with the fucking
With the list.
touchpad and all the technology that I don't understand, we've come up with a list here of 2 different groups. So in the top group, we have 4 controllers that are locked into this top 5. The DualSense 2.
DualSense 2? It's probably going to be number 1 when it comes out, Jeremy. It's going to be great. Jeremy time traveled forward. He knows it's going to be great.
DualSense does not exist. 2 does not exist. DualSense is in. The original DualSense. Future episode DualSense 2. GameCube is in. The original DualShock is also in. And the DualShock 4 is also in.
My number 1 pick doesn't even make it?
What do you mean?
DualShock 2? It's my number 1 pick. It doesn't even get into the top.
What happened to DualShock 2?
It got done dirty is what happened.
Literally gone.
Where's it on your list?
Oh, fuck's sakes.
Where's it on your list?
Anyway, so the top group, we have the DualSense locked in, we have GameCube locked in, we have DualShock 1 locked in, and DualShock 4. And now the 5 entries we have up for debate in that 5th spot: Switch Pro, Xbox 360, mouse and keyboard, Xbox Controller S, and the Xbox One controller.
Where's my DualShock 2?
DualShock 2 is in the bottom group, which I'm getting to. No one else. So Alex had it. You had it in the top. Alex had it in the bottom.
Yeah.
That means it gets put to the bottom.
So mouse and keyboard had 1 person vote for it in a middling position, and it's ranked higher than a
Yeah.
DualShock that was my number 1. It was on
That's
a
the way
second
it
person's
works.
list.
It's because Alex had it in his bottom half. It fucking cancels out.
That
To be
doesn't make
fair,
sense.
what doesn't make sense is even having multiple controllers of the same series of controllers.
But then we wouldn't have enough controllers.
I don't know. We probably could.
I wouldn't
find
have
them.
enough.
Like it's just weird
Oh, this is totally weird. Totally weird.
because it's like they're just iterations of the same controller. They're literally just taking the controller and making it slightly bigger, making it slightly smaller. Like if you look at the DualShock 1 and the DualShock 4, there's what, a touchpad? I'm putting mouse and keyboard in here to save some legitimacy for our podcast. If you do not have mouse and keyboard in your top 5,
You get your
This
legitimacy
is great.
by saying
Oh,
console
fuck.
controllers.
The angry
Boom.
energy's coming
No.
out. Let's fucking do it.
No. Mouse and keyboard is like the original
So
controller.
Joe, you did get fucked over, and you should be really
did get
mad.
fucked over.
You got fucked over, so you can take it out on us.
I'm not going to take it out on Alex. I'm going to take it out on you. You did the fucking ranking.
Yes. Okay, so in the bottom group, this is going to be the hotly contested group, really, because there's a lot more options. We have the NES Zappers locked in.
Oh my god.
It's locked in.
The Zapper.
The position's not locked in.
You guys pick Zapper over mouse and keyboard.
Yes.
My criteria was consoles only.
And guess what, Alex? Here's another thing. The Wiimote is locked in.
The Wiimote over mouse and keyboard.
You can ensure that it's 10th place.
Oh my god.
You can try and ensure that Zapper's 10th place depending on what you want to fight for tonight.
Duck Hunt. You guys value Duck
Alex,
Hunt that much.
You know how many essays I've written with a mouse and keyboard? That kind of offsets all the fun I've had gaming with it.
Joe,
I never had to write an essay with a DualShock.
My god, I mean, you could try. You could give it a go.
All right, so the Zapper and
wait a minute. To that point, Joe, that is why mouse and keyboard deserves to be so high. The flexibility and the ability to write an essay. Try writing an essay with any other controller on these lists. That would be extremely painful. But because of the versatility of the mouse and keyboard and the flexibility allows you in terms of inputs, you can do that.
I'm just saying, it's ruined. It's literally like... it's just fucking ruined.
And cheap. You can buy a mouse and keyboard for a couple bucks compared to everything else, which is like $60. And you
can probably buy like a shitty like replica of something else for a couple bucks.
You could get a high-end mouse and keyboard that is a mechanical keyboard and is rainbow and beautiful and make cool clicking noises. Oh my god, guys! I can't believe you guys picked the Zapper over fucking mouse and keyboard.
The Zapper and the Wiimote are locked in.
Oh my god, guys!
And then coming in after, these are the ones we have to decide where they fit in. We have three slots remaining here. Joe, DualShock 2 and the Super Nintendo controller are both tied there at the top. We have Joy-Cons, Wii U Pro, Wii Classic Pro, Guitar Hero 3 controller. DualShock 2 is in there again. Don't mind me. Don't
just trying to troll me.
It's all good. Just trying to troll. DualShock 3 is in there, close to the bottom. NES controller, close to the bottom. Rock Band 2 guitars, close to the bottom. And the N64 is bottom of our fucking list, which is hilarious.
So what's in the middle? What's in the mysterious group?
So the mysterious group got moved to the bottom group.
And okay, but what is it? It's the SNES and the DualShock?
Yes.
One?
Yes. Okay, let's start with the N64 controller, Alex. Start us off here. N64 controller. Tell us about it. What do you like about it?
So it's this weird fucking Trident controller.
Yeah.
It you hold the middle and the side. It's really weird. It's cool though. I don't even know what to say. It's honestly,
Make an argument for it, essentially.
I would say the argument is it's a precursor to the GameCube controller, which is the best controller ever made.
Okay.
The button designs are similar in many ways. Instead, the jump buttons that you had, the X and Y, would have been the C buttons, the 4 C buttons that are up there. Okay. What else did it do? I mean, I just feel like it had a very tight button layout. Compared, like, you guys are used to the DualShock, and that's your standard controller, which is like wide. It's a wide controller. But I feel like the N64, it is wide if you hold it the weird way, but if you hold it the right way with the joystick and the side, it's very tight. And I feel like that is what, led to the GameCube's design, where it's very tight. It's meant for, again, quick movement between the buttons. It's not...
So what you're saying is we have the N64 controller to blame for that travesty.
All right. Okay. So I think those are some good points, Alice. And so N64.
It's hard to talk it up because it is a flawed controller.
Okay.
It's just it was on a system that's underrated that had a ton of fun games. So if you have a controller plugged into shit,
yeah,
it could be the best controller in the world. It's still plugged into shit. But when it's plugged into something that's fun and exciting, and you have good nostalgic memories, and that is what you associate that controller with inherently, right?
Yeah.
And N64, most Nintendo games have a ton of party games, of multiplayer games, and that's what a lot of our childhoods were, right? So I feel like does N64 deserve to be in this list? Probably not. No. But it was attached to a cool system with fun games.
Okay.
So is like number 10? Is that?
It's not even 10.
These don't even have numbers?
It's like 15th. It's like 17th, Joe.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's probably not worth
It's fine.
boosting unless you're really fucking passionate about it.
I feel like if Nick were here, I feel like we could probably
So
play some
essentially,
shit.
you could boost it too, and then if Nick boosted, then it could possibly be. But it's so far down. It's not worth
Exactly.
it.
If
You're
he was
wasting
here,
points.
we could try and pull some weird strategy for it, and I feel like he'd be on board.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so the next lowest would be the Rock Band 2 Fender Stratocaster guitar controller. Now, I'm not going to really make too much of an argument for this being in our top 10 list, but I do think it's the best guitar controller. That time period, there was a lot of them. There's a lot of them coming out in the market. Kind of, ultimately led to the downfall of that specific genre, having to buy all these instruments again and again. But I think that was the nicest one. It had the kind of authentic look of like a Fender Stratocaster compared to the Guitar Hero controller, which was more of a. It was based after like a Gibson, I think, something similar. It was more similar to like a Gibson guitar. But anyways, I like the look of that, and I like the buttons more. I like the buttons were the entire like fret, whereas the Guitar Hero was just like a little button on the fret of the guitar. Can't really make a strong argument for it being any higher, but nostalgic pick for me.
Yeah, no, to me it's just the inferior of the two.
Yeah.
But I mean, I played most of my. I didn't really get into Rock Band that much. I played Guitar Hero a lot. So
Yeah.
to me, it's just the feedback of the buttons and Guitar Hero guitar.
Yeah, and these two
Much
controllers
nicer.
really like. I'd say they were the two best controllers from that era though, for sure. The two most iconic. It was huge. It was huge for a couple of years there. So I think these controllers are important, and they do hold a place in video game history, 100%.
Yep.
Next controller on the list, I think again I put this here, the NES controller. So the little blocky guy. He, like I said, this is my first controller I ever touched, so it's got that going for it. It's not very comfortable. I love the color scheme. It's very retro. It's very weird that they chose to go with like shitty gray and black and red.
That was probably futuristic back then.
Yeah, it's the weirdest fucking thing I've ever
Space
seen. And but it's so retro, so nostalgic, and it's perfect for playing Mario 1 to 3. Like I was playing some of those old emulated games on my Switch Pro controller, and I hate it. I hate it. You need the original controllers for those games if you can do it, because it's so much better. But outside of NES games, yeah, it's not very good. But I still love it. And the D-pad. Dude, that D-pad is revolutionary, and I think for that reason it probably deserves to be in a top 10 list. So yeah, the D-pad, man. Next up on the list, there's a lot of passion about DualShock apparently, but not so much for this one. DualShock 3.
Trash.
The worst DualShock for sure.
so I put this.
Alex,
in
yeah, you're the only one who have this in your list.
Yeah, I don't know. Like everybody hates the DualShock 3. I don't hate it. It's just, is it a great controller? No, it's not. But I don't get how it's that much worse than a DualShock 2 or 1.
I mean,
Connectivity of it, just the fucking shit you had to go through to try to get multiple controllers connected.
Yeah.
Connect one, you disconnect. I never
think
know
that's-
what the fuck's
I feel
going
that's
on.
more
trying
of
to play
a that was
multiplayer
more of a
with it.
PS3 thing probably than the
Yeah,
controller.
well, I still
but-
blame the controller.
Yeah.
Because of it, I mean, it's just much nicer if it was just a wired controller.
Now, the interesting thing with DualShock 3 wasn't actually the original PS3 controller. The original PS3 controller was the 6-axis, which had no rumble feature. And it was even worse than the DualShock 3. Like, you think the DualShock 3 is light, and I think that's the reason people don't like it. It feels light. It feels cheap compared to the DualShock 2, which has, like, a nice weight to it. But the 6-axis was even lighter. But, yeah. So, for me, I like the wireless. I that was a huge thing when I got my PS3. Like, oh, we don't have to have wired controllers anymore.
Yeah.
Shit, that's awesome. The battery always seemed to be decent.
I like the shitty fucking Xbox 360 controller. There's no battery pack. They had to
It's true. The battery, they're still rolling with that
Jesus
shit. I don't
Christ.
understand that. So yeah, I think the DualShock 3 has some good stuff going
I
for it.
can't tell you how many times I was playing fucking Halo with Brandon at his house. Ran out of fucking batteries. Had to run through the house looking for fucking batteries.
Tournament games. How many times have
Yes.
we tried to do a Halo tournament?
What the hell?
Impossible.
Yeah.
Impossible because of batteries.
Oh my god.
But at the same
In
time,
2021.
I feel the same way too, because like Xbox Series S, I bought one and I get the controller. I'm like, I've got like AAA batteries for this shit. What the hell?
Yeah.
And but I can kind of see, because it's nice if your controller dies, You don't have to charge it. You just pop 2 new batteries in. You're fully charged. You're good to go.
Yeah. No, I can see the argument for it, but it's also like, who's got all these batteries?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got over that back in the fucking Game Boy fucking Color days. I'm done with batteries.
Yeah, anyone who played Game Boy Color or Game Boy Advance,
Oh my God.
holy shit, dude.
Like, you can literally just go to the dollar
PTSD.
store, buy a lifetime supply of like AAA batteries for like $20.
We've been there. I'm just, and I'll say for the connectivity with the PS3, I never had to experience that because most of the games I played were just bum. And whenever I played multiplayer, it was at Jeremy's. And this man's a fucking wizard and know when it comes up and it's like 2-A/1B6.
I've never been called a wizard with anything
But Jeremy,
technological.
I look at
I
these.
can't even say the word.
I have no idea what the hell's going on when I look at these controllers. There's weird buttons. There's weird things pop up.
it makes
Jeremy's
no
like,
fucking
you
sense.
just gotta fucking do this, and Jeremy just goes in the menu, switches some things, and it works.
Because I've done it a lot.
I know. I
It's
don't know
like
how you do it.
1A, 1B, 1C. It's so fucking
I know,
weird.
but there are like 4 controllers, and we're on 1C246.
I'm getting stressed every time. We need to stop
You know
that.
what
It's
you're
stressing
doing
me
though,
out.
so I've never had that experience of trying to figure it out myself. Because Jeremy is there when we're playing multiplayer, and he just fucking does it.
Exactly.
So I
Literally crash
friggin'
team
headache.
racing. It's crash team racing. Okay, Joe. So we already kind of talked about Guitar Hero 3 controller. There's nothing else you want to say about that? It is higher up of the list. It's higher up the list than
That's
the
where it should
Robin.
be, so it's fine.
Okay, so it has a chance to maybe squeak in. Maybe if Joe really wants to go for it. Next, the Wii Classic Pro. Alex, you had a little theme here of pro controllers. Here you got the Wii, the Wii U, and the Switch Pro.
I just think they were good, man. Like the Wii Classic, it's a very bare bones controller, but as it was mostly played for like the
Was it white?
The Wii Shop. No, so it was based on the white one. The white one was like flat. The black one had like the kind of arms or whatever, the legs on it.
Okay. Yes, the white one had yeah.
Yeah, so it was a better version of the white one.
It was more like a classic controller.
Exactly.
And then they had one with essentially
exactly.
these, grips. Okay, I remember now.
Yeah, it was just a nice controller. It's primitive, it's basic, but it was smooth. It was just like it felt good, it felt comfortable. The biggest issue with it was that you had to attach it to the goddamn Wiimote, which of course is just dumb. Fuck the Wiimote.
We'll talk about that. Okay, so in comparing that to the Wii U Pro controller, why is the Wii U controller a little bit higher? Wii U Pro controller.
Because that's just a legit good controller. That's more similar to like the Switch Pro controller. It's just like a solid controller.
Okay. Nice. Okay, another Nintendo controller. I put this one in here. I'm the only one to put this in. Joy-Cons. Mm-hmm. To me, better than the Wiimote in every way.
I agree.
Cool colors.
Yep.
Like seemingly infinite matches of your colors.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that you can kind of customize the way your Switch looks. Not to mention the functionality of it. This controller's like a 3-in-1, like everything. Does it all. It does everything. You know, it could be part of your handheld setup, or you can take it out, motion controls, or you got a bud playing Smash. All you got is those 2 little controllers. It works. You know, it's functional.
You know what, Jimmy, you're right.
There's a lot going on.
I should have.
There's a lot going on.
I actually love the Switch.
Alex?
The Switch is like my favorite controller system. It's
not too late to make it right.
I know. I may end up losing.
So Joy-Cons, I think they're great. So next, we've already kind of talked about these. Very contentious. The Super Nintendo controller and the DualShock 2, right just below being locked in.
So you're saying DualShock 2 is currently below like 10th? Like what position's it in?
No.
So DualShock 2 is essentially in like 8th-ish. It's like 8th. It's tied for 8th, essentially. Yeah.
It's a travesty.
Joe,
can you please go into it? Why is
I'm
this a
not
perfect
going into
controller?
If it was in the top 4, I'd give an argument. But if we're going with this travesty,
I wanna know.
charade,
The thing is, Joe,
Then-
you could boost
here's the
DualShock
thing.
2.
I'm not boosting
Joe,
it because I'll
if
still
you
be
get
boosting
Dual-
it to a miscarriage
here.
of justice,
Here.
even if it's boosted 2 positions.
So, Joe, if you get it into 6th place in the final round, we could switch it with the 5th place thing, and it
Yeah,
could
top
still be in the
5.
top 5.
Even top 5, it's horrible.
But the top 5 already is three PlayStation controllers.
That's what I mean. Why is there so many fucking DualShocks?
the wrong ones are in there.
All right, well, I'm saying
here's
you
the
can
thing.
still get the top 5.
The only thing I'll say about the PS2, those who know.
It's great. I love it.
Those who know. And those who don't know, They just
Joe, we all know that was the highest selling console of all time. Everyone knows. Everyone's played it.
Every person in Brazil still knows.
Exactly. They're still playing it.
Okay, but Joe, see, the thing for me, I got no hate for the DualShock 2. What it came down to was, do I put DualShock in the list, or do I put DualShock 2? DualShock, to me, more revolutionary. DualShock 2 really is literally only slightly different. The only thing better about it, really, in my opinion, is that it had way cooler colors. It had a lot more like different cool colors that you could have. But I do like DualShock 1 and 2 are the DualShock 1 literally you could plug it into a PS2 and it worked just like a DualShock 2. To me, they're like essentially the same controller. That's my thinking. I would have put it was either that, it was DualShock 2, like I kind of like the DualShock 2 more because I like the black. But DualShock 1, man, like that was the first controller with 2 analog sticks. That's my reason. That's my scientific reason. Okay?
It's more the calculation of how it got into its position on the list.
Oh yeah, it's total shenanigans. 100%. 100% shenanigans.
I guess
I wanted to sow the seeds of doubt here amongst us.
if they came out with like a DualShock classic controller line where you could get the DualShock 2 wired, you have to wire it in. Is that what you would want? You would want to play today on the DualShock 2.
I'm just saying, those who know, they know.
Isn't that like the fucking like what is it? Those who like it a lot. What is that from?
Some kind of beer or something. It's
Some kind of
Alexander
beer.
Keith.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Alexander Keith.
Yeah.
That you're just stealing from Alexander Keith. Pride of Nova Scotia. Okay, SNES controllers right in there, floating with the DualShock 2 in the chaos.
Yeah.
Alex, you're the Super Nintendo OG.
I love Super Nintendo. That was my first console. I love the SNES controller. And to me, when I think controller, I think the Super Nintendo controller. That is like
Iconic.
In my head, when I think of a controller, that's the controller I think of. So it literally is the controller.
And you said this a little bit before. I don't know if it'll make it into the final cut of this episode, but it really is the 4 face buttons.
Yeah.
And
Triggers.
the triggers.
Yeah.
The triggers are huge.
And it started to create like a more ergonomic design. Is that the word I'm looking
Yeah.
for?
Oh yeah, totally.
Like it just fits your hands better than the old blocky NES.
Exactly.
But still has that
Like
same...
that was designed for robots. This was designed for humans, essentially.
It still gives you that very video game feel, though. You're just sitting down and playing a video game. You're not like in some crazy world, some insane experience. You're playing a video game, and that's, I don't know. It's classic.
And for me, I really thought SNES or NES. I'm only putting one in. Mm-hmm. And for me, it just came down to nostalgia and the color scheme. The one thing I will say with the Super Nintendo controller, I do not like the colors generally of Super Nintendo.
But the Japanese version,
yes,
beautiful.
yeah,
I love
color.
the Super Nintendo colors.
Do you?
Like the purple. It's unique.
it is unique, but it's kind of like
And it goes so well with the grays and the white. Like it's really slick.
I mean, it is because it's iconic, but also like it's like super weird. Again, like it's like I don't know what they were thinking really, but
Well, I get this.
The design.
This looks like what you'd think like an 80s, early 90s, like computer console type thing would look like. That's probably space age. That's what you'd expect to see on a spaceship.
yeah. So we figured out that my ranking system is more flawed than I even originally thought.
It was just slightly off, though. Pretty close.
But we got it now. We got it fair. So actually, the DualShock 2 and SNES are actually in the top 2 spots in this group.
Yeah.
So now that we got this all sorted out, hopefully,
Okay. All right.
the top 5 as it stands: DualShock 2 and fuck.
DualShock 2 number 1, right?
6th place. We have to figure out DualShock 2 or SNES, which is 6th.
Right.
In our initial ranking. So basically, I'll say vote. I'll vote for one. You vote for one of the other. You vote for another. Whatever has 2 votes, we'll get into that 6th place before we fucking fuck with it. So
So this is for 5th and 6th or 6th and 7th?
this is for 6th and 7th. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 6th and 7th. So Joe, you want to go first? I know what your vote is.
SNES.
Over DualShock 2?
I'm voting. I cannot vote the
Okay.
the DualShock 2 as the 6th place controller.
Okay, so Joe.
So I'm not going to vote for it as a 6th place controller because I can only vote for it as a 1st place controller.
But Joe, if it's in 5th place, 6th place, we could switch it at the end. Okay, all right. So SNES, I've created the environment I wanted. Alex, what are you saying? SNES or DualShock?
I have to go with SNES.
All right. Well, my vote's irrelevant then.
What were you gonna vote?
I'd probably say SNES.
Okay.
I just want to claim complete. I've completely washed my hands of any responsibility of where the DualShock 2 ends up in this list.
All right, Joe.
Joe.
I'm gonna say I'm loving the fucking I'm loving the passion. It's great. Okay, so now we have to figure out our preliminary 8th and 9th place. So it's tied between Zapper and Wiimote. The NES Zapper and the Wiimote. So Joe, I'll start first. So I'm gonna vote for between Zapper and Wiimote. Shit, man.
Which one did you have higher on your original list?
I gotta go for the Zapper, man.
There's no right answer here. There's no right answer.
So I'm voting Zapper. It's a trick question, Alex. Zapper or Wiimote?
A Wiimote.
Okay, one Zapper, one Wiimote.
Wiimote.
Wiimote. Okay, cool. All right. You guys are thinking you want to legitimize my fucking monstrosity.
I want both of those gone and removed from the fucking list. To be honest,
It's possible, Alex. It's
I want this
possible.
thing gone, removed from the list, please.
All right. So now, this is the most important vote. Well, not really, but because we can still boost them. But so now for the 10th place preliminary slot, it's tied between two Nintendo controllers, the Joy-Con and the Wii U Pro controller. So we will start with Joe again. Alex gets middle vote every time.
And the Joy-Con and the Wii what?
And the Wii U Pro controller. So it looks.
I haven't used either of these controllers really.
It looks like.
I guess
I have the Switch Pro controller. Where is it? It's a lot. It's a lot like.
I'm gonna say.
Oh, it's upstairs. Fuck, they got it.
I'm just gonna go Wii U Pro.
Shit. Alex, please don't say Wii U Pro. Okay. What's your vote, Alex? Joy-Cons or Wii U Pro controller for our top 10 list?
Oh God, I don't know.
Vote against your own thing here.
I know. One's an actual better controller, but one is it's just a unique controller. The only issue is with the Joy-Cons is the drift, and the disconnecting is really rough if you get too far away from it.
Joe, you've actually used the Joy-Con, so I'm surprised why you would vote for it. You vote for the one you've never used, but
Those things barely count as controllers for anything.
all right.
You know what? I gotta go with the Joy-Con, and I gotta say why. It's not the better controller, but it's such a unique experience of being able to bring it wherever and play with people wherever.
But you hate the Duck Hunt gun, and that's a fucking unique experience.
It is, but it's not the same. This is like the Switch has just done something different. It wasn't.
But you could literally shoot ducks on your TV screen, Alex.
So Alex, you're locking it in, Joy-Con?
Oh God, I love them. Which one was the other? It's Wii U Pro, right?
Yeah, versus it's Joe says Wii U Pro, so it's 1-1. So you can leave it up. You can leave the decision up to
It's
me.
not Switch Pro. It's Wii U Pro. No, I'm going Joy-Con then.
Okay. So one for Joy-Con, one for Wii Pro. I'm going to make it quick. Joy-Cons, obviously.
Nice.
So we have Joy-Cons.
And I think the Switch Pro, which is in our top group, right? I think that's just like a better upgraded version of the Wii U Pro, kind of.
So in our bottom group,
Yep.
currently it stands like this before using our abilities. Super Nintendo in 6th place. DualShock 2 in 7th place. Wiimote in 8th. NES Zapper in 9th. And the Joy-Cons in 10th. Now, just below that is the Wii U Pro. So in 11th place, Wii U Pro. Guitar Hero 3 is in 12th. Wii Classic is in 13th, et cetera, down the list. You're probably not going to want to boost those because it's going to probably be worthless. So is there anything... Okay, do you guys need a refresher of these abilities here that you have?
No.
No, I'm good.
Okay, we'll do it turn-based, okay? We'll do it turn-based. So we'll let Joe go first.
I'm not changing anything.
You're not changing anything? You're good with it. You're saving all your points for the second round.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You're happy with this bottom 5. Joe.
I'm completely unhappy with it, but
Okay.
I want no part in
Okay.
forming it.
Okay.
No, I'll leave it. I don't think that
So
Zapper
you're
should be
giving
there,
me-
but I'm gonna leave it.
You guys can still, if I boost something, you can respond to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what?
No, what?
I'm
You boost what?
gonna boost the Joy-Cons.
Okay.
I'm boosting Joy-Cons
So they go up 2 spots.
2 spots.
Oh.
So where does that put them
So
ahead
that
of?
puts Zapper in 10th, and that puts Wiimote in 9th and Joy-Cons in 8th.
I like E.
It's fine, yeah.
Okay, so you guys aren't going to respond to me. Okay, so I've spent 2 points. I only have 1 ability point left. So you guys still have 3. So the top 5 is more in your control here. But I've decided to champion the Joy-Cons.
Good job.
All right, so that's round 1.
Joe here to create chaos in the top 5.
Yeah. Round 1. Okay,
Maybe
so
I'll just abstain completely. Wash my hands the whole thing.
there should be some penalty for not using your points, though.
Just push the DualShock down further. DualShock 2 down further on. I'm just fucking.
It's so funny. Okay, so round 2. I have 1 ability point. These 2 gentlemen have 3. So basically, now we're going to do the same thing. So DualShock was your number 1,
Yeah.
and GameCube was your number 1, and DualSense was my number 1.
The funny thing is, you both have your number 1s, and mine's off in oblivion
So
somewhere.
GameCube was my number 2, and DualSense was your number 2.
Yeah.
So that's essentially... That means it's between GameCube and DualSense.
Yeah, I guess so.
That means DualShock is in 3rd.
Which
Joe.
basically means my opinion doesn't matter about anything.
It's not that. It's just because of the way the crack. You can boost it, Joe. You could boost it up. You could wait till the end and boost it. If we have nothing, if we have no ability points, you could just completely fucking.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So the original DualShock. So now it comes down to. It comes down to you, Joe. You get to choose GameCube or DualSense in first place.
DualSense
So you do get some power here,
I'm
Joe.
going to choose GameCube.
Really? Oh my God! Oh no! Oh, he hates this. He hates this so much. I'm so sorry,
Watching the world burn.
I love it. I love
Joe
it.
just spends an hour shitting on the GameCube controller. Both
Oh
to
my
number
God,
1.
this is
Oh my
fucking
God.
awesome.
So funny.
Oh my God!
That's
oh my
hilarious.
goodness gracious! This
I love it.
is exactly what I wanted, but also I'm like terrified of what I've created here.
Oh my
Oh boy.
God.
Okay, this is fun. I'm having a good time. Okay, so next for our 5th spot, preliminary. This is the one that can be moved in the bottom at the end. We have between the Switch Pro controller and the Xbox 360 controller. So, again, Joe, would you like to vote? Which one would you prefer?
360.
360. Alex, you're going to say Switch Pro, I'm assuming?
No, I'll go with 360.
360? And I would also go with the 360. So we're going to say Xbox 360 controller is in 5th.
I do love the Switch Pro. I think it's a great controller, but
Actually, these are already kind of... Okay, so mouse and keyboard is next. So for the last spot, the last 2 spots in this... These will most likely all be exiled unless we boost them. The Xbox controller S versus the Xbox One controller. I'm going to say Xbox One controller because it's newer and I think it's...
the S.
Yes. Alex?
I don't even know what these are, guys. I've never touched these.
You never touched...
You've
you never played Halo?
Not
Did
even
you
the
ever
original
play
Xbox.
Halo, Alex?
The original.
Halo 2?
God, that's what I mean. I can't even remember them. So you're
It was
literally asking
white.
me to pick
It was
some.
white. White with had the black. It had like the gray two-tone.
I'll tell you. So basically what you're choosing is whether you value design,
This is the Xbox One. You can hold it right now.
good design improvements over build quality. So earlier Xbox controllers had better build quality, but obviously later iterations of Xbox controllers had design improvements.
I feel
I
like they're not.
prefer-
The triggers are.
Build quality because I think that has kind of shitey.
Either of these don't
quality.
spend too either of these would need to be boosted by 2 people to get in. So
That's some shitty build quality right there.
Joe knows all about it.
See, I feel like Joe's played a lot of Xbox, so I'll trust him on this. He's
Okay.
played. I'll put whatever he said.
Okay.
S.
Perfect. So to round that up for you, the top 5 group so far: first place GameCube, second place DualSense, third place the original DualShock, fourth place the DualShock 4, fifth place Xbox 360, sixth chance to still get in there Switch Pro, seventh most key, eighth Xbox S, ninth Xbox One.
Alex, I want to.
It doesn't matter.
I want to collude with you to have DualShock 2 and GameCube 1.
You can collude away.
Get that DualSense down there out of second place.
DualShock 2.
The turn order is not really important, but
Yeah, I wouldn't change that. If you boost your DualShock, I won't mess that up. So you want your DualShock to 2.
But the thing is, if I boost DualShock, it'll go to 1.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
it will.
So it's better if I just spend a point to knock down the DualSense to 3rd.
Okay.
So Joe, you're gonna lower DualSense to 3rd, and you're gonna keep your other 2 points for now.
For now, yeah.
Okay, so Joe, you have 2 ability points left. Alex has all 3. Alex, what do you want to do here, man? You have the most power right now.
You want to get mouse and keyboard up, don't you?
I sure do.
I'm not against it.
So I have to start by switching. So I'm gonna knock the DualShock 4 down to 5th.
I like Xbox 360 being up there. I don't really I love the DualShock 4 for its form factor. Like during the time I loved it, but as soon as I got the DualSense, I was like, fuck the DualShock 4. Although it is a great controller. So we have Switch Pro. I don't want Switch Pro. I hate the Switch Pro controller. I definitely don't want that in the top 5. I hate the face buttons. Everything else is great about it. Face buttons are too heavy. Mouse and keyboard is nice. Is a nice call. I'm gonna go with some groupthink here. I'm gonna strike the Switch Pro down a notch. So mouse and keyboard moves up to 6th. It's right on the cusp. So currently we have GameCube in 1st, DualShock, DualSense, Xbox 360 in 4th, DualShock 4 in 5th, mouse and keyboard in 6th, and then Switch Pro in 7th.
I'm gonna boost mouse and keyboard. I'm gonna push it up to 4th, so Xbox is 5th.
So
DualShock's gone.
Mouse and keyboard, nice. Okay, so now Joe, Alex spent all his points.
So I'm going to boost the DualShock to 1st place.
Fuck. Okay, that's okay.
You have 1 point, Jeremy.
No, I
You
used mine.
spent it.
I used
There's
mine.
no points left.
Oh, Joe.
The final ranking, boys.
Fuck.
Damn
Got
it.
my revenge.
Damn it. Joe gets the last lap. Okay.
Did some calculus.
So we've all of our abilities are spent, and now we're moving on to the final round. So really, all we have to do before we announce the final ranking here in this convoluted experimental episode of the JoyCircuit podcast, hosted by yours truly. So, in 5th place, we have the Xbox 360 controller. Do we want to switch it for the SNES controller? Now, this is just a straight vote. 2 votes, we switch them.
No.
I vote. Oh, you want me to vote first? I'll vote first because I think it'll help Alex. I'm going to say vote yes to switch the SNES to the top 5. The most iconic video game controller of all time, according to you, versus one that you've apparently never held. It's a lot of power, Alex. It's a lot of power.
Joe? We also don't have GameCube number 1. That's a travesty in itself.
That is-
Yes, put the SNES.
Yes, let's do it. All right, we
I
get the last
spared
lap,
you.
Joe.
I should have put mouse
We
and
get the
keyboard
fucking
down there.
lap. We get the last lap, Joe. Ha ha ha.
No, mouse and keyboard was.
That's what happens.
I mean, yeah, I
what-
guess it would have switched. I still would have put SNES up though.
I think
But
it's
then it would have been between mouse and keyboard and SNES.
Yeah, I still would have put SNES up.
So, do you guys want to hear the final list now?
As made by Nintendo fanboys.
Nintendo fanboy seal of approval and Sony fanboy seal of approval.
Certified illegitimate. Completely illegitimate ranking.
Joe
of
would have
controllers.
DualShock 2, DualShock 1, DualSense, DualShock 4.
No. I had my list.
Yeah.
Without further ado,
Okay, fair enough.
here's our final list. Starting from the bottom. 10th place, we have the NES Zapper. Getting a nice peripheral in there. I like it. I
Duck
like
Hunt
having
gun, for
I
those that
like
don't know the
having a
official name.
peripheral, man. It's nice having something wacky in 10th. I like it.
Okay, all right.
All right?
It was like magic back then, so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still magic now. I mean, it doesn't even work on a new TV.
The
It's
one
magic.
Nintendo controller Joe fucking loves. The fucking Zapper.
The only one that
In
was
number
ever good.
9, the much hated Wiimote. You know what? Motion controls, though, dude. Like, you think of VR, you think of, like, all the technology we've had since then. This is kind of the beginning of that.
Well,
that sort of
apparently
stuff.
we like motion controls because there's 2 of them on here. So
Yeah, we do.
It's got the grandma and grandpa stamp of approval.
All right, there we go. So, in number 8, we have the Joy-Cons.
deserve though.
Upgraded version of the Wiimote, better in every way, on a better system as well. In number 7th, so Joe's favorite, the DualShock 2, 7th place, or 6th place. No, 7th place,
No,
cut.
six. What?
We have the DualShock 2 in 7th place.
7th place, right?
Overall.
Yeah.
All right. And now it's thanks to Switcheroo. In number 6 place, we got for you the Xbox 360 controller. Thank you, Alex. Sorry, Joe. Now, the top 5, the big boys. We have the SNES controller in 5th. New addition to the top 5 here. Super Nintendo. Number 4, for all you PC nerds out there, mouse and keyboard. Arguably the most functionality from any controller. Keyboard. I don't really know. I don't know what to say that. But you know what? I'm glad it's there. I like it.
It deserves it.
Yeah, I approve it. Alex
The
approves
controller
it.
that gives me the most nightmares because it's also used for work.
Yeah, it's true.
It's used for everything, Joe. Everything. You're on.
Streamers, professional streamers.
The average.
Their controllers,
Think
that's
about
their
the
work too,
average
right?
enjoyment, Alex, you get from your mouse and keyboard. You get a lot of positive. You get a lot of negative. You average that out. The average joy you have on a mouse and keyboard is probably neutral.
There's a disconnect. There's a disconnect for me when I'm doing work. There's a disconnect.
Okay, number 3, the DualSense. This was my number 1, and the fact that it's not number 1 is crazy to me because it's literally objectively the best.
I would have put it
ever
number
made.
1 if you didn't put DualShock 2 in the
Yeah,
bottom.
That's what I wanted. This is what I wanted. So hey, we gotta live with it. DualSense 2, DualSense 2. What the fuck is the DualSense 2? I keep talking about it. It's gonna be great, folks. Number 2, the GameCube controller. Amazing controller. I love it. Smash. They're still making it. They still make these controllers 20 years later. That says a lot.
The most monstrous controller ever made. It's literally the peripheral of choice for people who've lost their left index finger because it's perfect. You don't need a left index finger on this controller. And someone just basically took a bunch of controller buttons, put it in a Yahtzee cup, fucking Yahtzee, and there you have the face buttons.
Maybe they
That's
did.
what we call the old GameCube.
But by doing so, they created one of the most incredible controllers known to mankind, humankind.
I love it. I like honestly Joe's points. I see where it's coming from, but I can't agree. Number 1, the DualShock. Thanks to Joe. I can't honestly. I'm fine with this. I'm fine with the DualShock. Honestly, it's probably the most important controller outside of the SNES or the NES controller in terms of what it did for video game controllers, especially console controllers. That's that second analog stick, man. Like Nintendo, the N64, they had that one shitty DualShock. They did it, man. I don't know. I think I'm happy with it as number 1. I can accept that.
And I would argue that DualShock is more important than SNES or NES.
Yeah.
That came out in an age where there was tons of different competing systems, all with fairly generic controller sets. I don't think they particularly stood out amongst the early generation of controllers. Original DualShock is what really brought controllers forward to what we have today. So I would argue it's most important.
It's definitely a huge evolution for sure. Even Sony's original controller, like it was essentially, same idea as a NES or as a SNES controller, right? More or less. A little bit more ergonomics, possibly. But yeah. So DualShock. I think we all got. I don't know who's the winner. I don't know if there's any winners. I think maybe we're all losers right now.
I feel like I'm secretly the winner because DualShock is my favorite controller above DualShock 2.
And you got the DualShock, and the DualShock 2 is in the bottom. We have the DualShock 1 and 2, which are essentially the same controller.
What if I'm secretly winning? Then DualShock was what I was going for the entire time. I just made you
Your
think
love
you
of
won.
Nintendo makes that statement untrue.
Well, guys,
That's what you think, Joe.
thank you for joining me for this crazy podcast. Thank you for bearing with my insane running order, which is just completely, I don't even know. Let me know what you think. If we do ranking episodes in the future, would you like a more traditional sort of ranking discussion?
Do you want me to do them, or do you want
Do you want Joe to do it, or do you want me to do it? But yes, let me know what you think. I hope you had fun. I had fun. I think this was at least interesting. There was some passion, some heated discussions, and that's all I want, So thanks for watching the JoyCircuit podcast, and see you next time.